Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have already done the introduction to the 17th chapter last night, very recently. And in that we saw that the 24th verse of the, which chapter before 17? 16. Very good. So, so the 24th verse of chapter 16 talks about sticking to the Shastra. Do what the Shastra tells you to do, and then what? Do not do what the Shastra does not tell you to do. And so, with that introduction, with that conclusion, Arjuna is a little confused, perturbed. And what is his question? His question, as we will see, his opening question is, there is one more set of people. What is this? Who are these people? They have lot of Shraddha. But then, what do they not have? They don't have Shastra. Why do they not have Shastra? They are perhaps from some other country. They have not studied Veda. So are they going to be excluded? Or they are, for some reason, because of certain taboos, as the tradition grew a little hardened, patriarchal, and all these things, certain people were left out of the orbit of the Shastra. What about them? Do they not have the right to this knowledge? Do they not have a right to be free? Do they not have a right to kick samsara in the face and get moksha? They do. And also, it's not that they don't have some qualifications. They do have some qualifications, and the most important qualification that has been put forth, at least in the Bhagavad Gita, is Shraddha. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. This is what has been taught. And so therefore, it is very important for Arjuna to find out what happens to these people who have Shraddha but who don't know S for Shastra, V for Vedanta, and then K for Karma Kanda. They don't know anything. They don't know Y for Yajna. And all these things they don't know. And so where will they go? What will happen to them? But they are basically very, very devout people. They have devotion, but they don't know the manner of expressing the devotion. That is where the confusion is. And so, therefore this chapter. And in a way we can say this chapter is the continuation and an opening of the 14th chapter. 14th chapter was called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Gunatraya Yoga means the three gunas were explained in detail, what the people do, how each guna binds, and how one can become free of the gunas in general, and by sticking to sattva guna. This was explained. Here now we are going to go into further detail about the daily activities of the people who have this Shraddha, and what happens to the people who don't have Shraddha, etc. This is what we will be seeing in a very unique and an engaged way. This is a very engaged discussion, engaged in, to see the connection between, and this also I talked about yesterday, the connection between one's daily life and moksha. The two are not disconnected, like in other branches of knowledge. In other branches of knowledge, you can study, and then what? And then forget about it. And then you don't have to, there are people who are great experts in what they do, but they don't have a moral compass. They just have a completely different kind of a lifestyle where they hurt others and where they do all kinds of things which must not be done. And so here, this is more of an integration, so that as the Bhagavad Gita is coming to a close, one more chapter to go after this, and then so as the Bhagavad Gita draws to a close, we are remembering again our connection to our bodies, our connection to the daily life, our connection to the sadhanas, and how to purify that and refine that more and more. And therefore this chapter is begun especially for as a nod to people who may not know the Shastra, and how how to refine those kinds of everyday behaviors. So with these words, let us delve into the chapter. Om Atha Saptadashodhyayah. Arjuna Uvacha. Ye Shastra Vidhimutsrijya. Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha. Tesham nishtha tu ka Krishna. Sattvaho rajastamaha. Ye janaha. Arjuna uvacha. Arjuna ate, right? No. Okay. Arjuna spoke. What did he say? Ye janaha. Janaha we have to supply. Ye janaha, those people, Shastra vidhim utsrijya. Utsrijya means giving up. Giving up means they never had it. They don't know. Skipping, setting aside Shastra vidhi. Vidhi means injunctions. And by inference we have to bring in prohibitions. Nishedha also comes. Vidhi, do's. Nishedha, don'ts. Do's include the don'ts. So, ye Shastra vidhim utsrijya, then what happens? Yajante, they still worship. How do they worship? Shraddhayanvitaha, dripping in Shraddha, dripping in devotion, they worship. Tesham nishtha. Nishtha here means nitaram sthitihi. What is their gati? Where will they go? What is their status? What is their situation? O Krishna, Tesham nishtha ka nishtha. What is their situation? How are they? What is their lifestyle? And are they sattvic, sattvam? Are they rajaha? Are they rajasic, or are they tamasic? And what is this aho? Aho is short for ahosvit. Ahosvit is a word, a very long fancy word for or. We have a shorter word in Sanskrit for or. What is that? Va. So a fancy way of saying va is ahosvit. And when you hear ahosvit, you have to say vah vah. So that is what you have to say, because it's a very fancy word for or. So aho, short form for ahosvit. So this is what he says. We have seen the essence of the question. So those people who are Shastra Bhashyaha, because for some reason or the other they are not included in the Shastra, poor things, what will happen to them? But they have lot of Shraddha. Answer me this question now, O Krishna. Krishna cannot answer any of Arjuna's questions directly because these questions are like the Nachiketa's first question. Yeyam yete vichikitsa manushye. The first time when he said, some people say that the Atma survives after birth. After death. Of course it survives after birth. So after death it survives. And some people say it doesn't. And so what is the truth of it? I desire to know. But that's not what he wanted to know. He wanted to know what is the nature of this Atma that survives. but he could not express it until much later. Then he had the chance to, when Yama was praising him, Lord Yama is praising him, he had the chance to refine the question. So here also Arjuna presents these questions, like even in the second chapter, Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha. How does the man of learning, woman of wisdom, how do they sit, how do they stand, how do they walk, how do they talk, what do they eat? And this is a very difficult question to answer. So if supposing Lord Krishna said, the Mahatma, the person of knowledge, only eats idlis, and then you see the Mahatma eating what? Chapatis. Then you say, no, you must not be enlightened. Why? Because you're not eating idlis. And so like these are these Arjuna's questions, because they come from an innocence, and because he is in a hurry to ask, and he just asks what is at the top of his head, because Arjuna is the kind of person, what you see is what you get. It's very refreshing. There is no vakra, there is no vakratvam, there is no artifice, there is no trying to couch it in some trying to look very enlightened when one is not. All this is not there. Just what you see is what you get. And so here, he just asked what came in his mind. This is the issue. Krishna is not able to answer it directly, as we will see. Why? Because how can you say that whether the Shraddha of these people is Tamasic Shraddha, Rajasic Shraddha or Sattvic Shraddha? How can you say without knowing these people at all? So if you know, then you can say. You have certain symptoms, and then you can diagnose the thing. So if you don't know these people, because Lord Krishna has no idea who Arjuna is talking about. There can be some random people somewhere, or there can be some people that Arjuna knows, but nobody knows. Lord Krishna doesn't know who are these people that Arjuna is asking about. So without knowing, what do? You can't really say much about these people. So if you don't know somebody, and then some people, and then the question is asked, are they Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic? How their Shraddha is expressing itself, you have to get more information. Like you have to find out who are these people, what are their hobbies, what do they like to eat, and which movies they like to see. If they like to see horror movies, they are Rajasic in nature, etc., etc. You have to get more information. And Lord Krishna is very astute in assuming here that the information is not going to help. Why? Because the question is about Shraddha and what happens to the people who don't have the Shastra. That is what is the nature of Shraddha. So therefore, Lord Krishna answers the question, but not, you can answer the question in two ways. You can answer the question directly, or you can answer what? The spirit of the question. Here what does he choose? He chooses to answer the spirit of the question by talking about what this Shraddha entails and how to understand. Shri Bhagavanuvāca Trividha bhavati Shraddha Dehinam sa svabhavaja Sattviki rajasi chaiva Tamasi cheti tam shrunu Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayoyam purushah Yo yat shraddhassa eva saha. So, the Lord said, what did he say? The first verse is very straightforward. Trividha bhavati shraddha. Trividha means fourfold. No, threefold is the is the Shraddha, Trividha. And in English also three means three. Threefold is the Shraddha. So what is that? Satviki Shraddha. Satviki it becomes because Shraddha is feminine. To go along with that. So don't say what's the difference between Satvik and Satviki. Nothing. It's just going along with Shraddha. So Satviki, Rajasi, Jaiva, Tam Shrinu. I'm going to elaborate on them. So this Shraddha, where is that? Dehina, for the people who are embodied, meaning human beings. We see that. We see the Shraddha, Swabhavaja, meaning a kind of a natural predilection. Doesn't mean it cannot be changed, but there is a natural predilection because of many, many things. And the very next verse, this verse there is not much to comment about because it's just a listing of three kinds of Shraddha and threefold. The next verse is extremely confusing because when he says Sattva, he doesn't mean Sattva. When he says Shraddha, he does not mean Shraddha either. Okay? So what does he mean? Sattvanurupa sarvasya. So sarvasya Shraddha Sattvanurupa bhavati. He Bharata. He Bharata. Bharata is, not just the clan of Bharatas. There's also another derivation. Bha means Brahma Vidya. Bha. Tasyam Ramante Ra. So, or we can directly take Bha, that which shines. Bhati iti Bha, and which is the self-shining Atma. Te Rataha Bharata. Rataha means committed to indulging in, reveling in that Bha. So that is why Bharata. So here he says, this threefold Shraddha is not so categorically said, okay, you can't just point to a person and say Satvik, Rajasik, Tamasik, you cannot say that. And he explains the difficulty, why. And so he says that Sattva Anurupa Shraddha Bhavati. Sattva here means the Antahkarana, mind. So it is according to one's mental and emotional temperament. The Shraddha is based on two things, he says. The first line says the mental and emotional temperament is what is responsible. Second one, Shraddha Mayaha Ayam Purushaha. Mayaha means full of Shraddha, Prachuryarthe. So full of Shraddha the person is. Shraddha here means values, not Shraddha. Full of whatever values that person has. Values means what? What they got from the family, what they got from the genetics, what they got from the larger environment of growing up. Maybe the family is very sattvic, but the neighborhood is very rajasic and the children fall into bad company. That is also there. But then the genetics, how much role they play, we don't know. Because Hiranyakashipu had what? Prahlada, Rakshasa, full of ego, full of wanting world domination. And Vishwarasaha, the father of Ravana, Brahmana, very devout Brahmana, had Ravana, the one who wanted to destroy everybody. And so like this, you cannot say that definitively that it is genetics. You cannot say that it's only the value system. You cannot say that it's the socio-cultural environment. Perhaps it's a mixture of all of these. That's what it says. Yo yat. So Shraddhamayaha ayam purushaha yaha yat shraddhaha saha eva saha means whatever values they got and then they have developed either consciously or unconsciously, let it grow like wild seed in their antahkarana, that becomes the extent of their shraddha. So, in other words, basically, it requires to grow into a sattvic shraddha. He's going to say this later. Requires a kind of vigilance, a great vigilance, meaning watch the thoughts. Somebody said this. Watch the thoughts, otherwise what will happen? They will turn into actions. And then watch the actions, they will become the conduct. Watch the conduct, it will become the character. Watch the character, otherwise it will become the personality. And so it requires a certain vigilance, because once it becomes part of the personality, it becomes a habit. Habitual orientations, we say. So habitual orientations, when it reaches that stage, it is very difficult to alter. Okay, and so therefore, yo yat shraddha saha eva saha, meaning whatever values they are sporting right now, that is what their extent of this shraddha is. And then he goes on to make certain statements about the kind of shraddha the person may have based on the worship. Worship is very important in the Vedic tradition, because that is where one is a true being. There is no artifice, there is nothing to please, there is nobody to, what is that called? There is no trying to make up for something. There is just that devotee that comes out, the basic person. So the Lord starts with worship. How they worship is an indicator of what kind of shraddha they have. And then what they eat and how they eat is an indicator of what kind of shraddha they have. And then the dana, how they give, what they give is an indicator of the kind of shraddha they have. So these three are the parameters that are going to be talked about to understand whether one has sattvika shraddha, rajasika shraddha or tamasika shraddha. But why do these things, because as I said, worship is important. So after worship, what is very primal other than the devotee, which is the truth of oneself? What is primal? Food. What are the kinds of food that one is drawn to? And then eating what kind of food, what kinds of things can happen. This is the discussion. And it's very interesting because he doesn't say that sattvic shraddha looks like this. He doesn't say. Sattvic food looks like this. He names the kinds of foods and then he says these are the foods liked by sattvic people. These are the kind of worship liked by sattvic people. Very diplomatic. Because he wants us to be inspired by this and then have the same values and the same kind of and be drawn towards this. So now verses 3 and 4, 3, 4 and 5 are all about worship. So before we see the verses, again when we talk about worship, what are the things to look for? We look at the object of worship. What is it that the person is worshipping? That becomes a key to looking at what kind of shraddha one enjoys. Then you also look at the purpose of worship. So what is the motive for worshipping? So once I worship, what do I hope to get? And then you also look at the manner of worship. How is this invocation being made? What are the offerings and etc. etc. So object of worship, mode or manner of worship and the motive or the purpose of worship, these three things are very important, and then some of this will be outlined in the next set of verses. Yajante sattvika devan yaksharakshamsi rajasaha pretan bhutaganamshchanye yajante tamasa janaha. Very straightforward verse after the confusing third verse. Okay, yeah. So what does it say? Sattvika janaha yajante. They worship who? Devan. Who are these devas? ones that have been talked about in the Shastra. Rama, Krishna, Saraswati, Durga, all these things, the whole kind of thing. And in fact, we have many, many things to choose from. In fact, we have, what is that? We have even what is that thing called where there are many, many stores. You go inside and then you can shop in many, many, mall. Yeah, you go to the mall. I only have changed the spelling, M-A-U-L we should call it, okay? But you go to get mauled of your purse. That's what it is. So when you go to the mall, it attracts. Why? You need not ever leave. Morning you can go there, have your coffee, have your breakfast, shop some more, and then there is a place to relax and play some games, and then shop some more, have your lunch, shop some more, have your dinner, catch a movie. It's all right there. Okay, that's why it attracts. So in the Hindu tradition, the number of devas available is like a deva mall. Yes. Much more than what is a mall, because here we have just a few shops, but there we have, in the Hindu tradition, we have what, 33.3 crores and counting. So many devas. And you don't have to worry. Like let's say, don't like man god. Woman god is there. Okay, don't like woman god. Man god is there. Don't like either. Man, woman god, half god is there. Ardhanarishwara. Okay, don't like, people god. Okay, animal god is there. No, but can I have little mixture? Yes, man animal god is there, woman animal god is there, animal god is there, all kinds of things are there. You can choose whatever you want. And so it makes for a very rich way and a sophisticated way of understanding Ishvara, and more than that, relating to Ishvara as Ishtadevata. So here, from the standpoint of Ishtadevata, who are the people that the Satvikas like to worship? Satvikas like to worship who? Devas. The ones that we have heard about. Indra, Dis, Vayu, Agni. If they are in the ancient Vedic times, now Rama, Krishna, Saraswati, Bhagavati, all these things, Parvati, all these gods and goddesses, various iterations of Bhagavan, they worship. And then what do they, and then the motive is not given, but we have to supply that from the other chapters. The motive of worship is what? For the Sattvika people, the motive for worshipping is spiritual growth. Spiritual growth. May I become, may all my papas decrease. Mamopata, Durita, Samastakshayadvara, Shri Parameshwara Prityartham Ahamidam Karishye. This is said at the Sankalpa of every puja. Mama Upakta, that which has been earned by me. Oh, money? No, Papa. All the papas that have been earned by me, may they drop. Why? Because when the papas drop, then only I can be abhimukha, I can be face to face with moksha. What is stopping me from reclaiming my glory, reclaiming my nature? Papas. And that's why I have to drop those papas, and so therefore I am doing this puja. May the papas drop, may the punyas come out wherever they are hidden. Punyas come out and play. And then when the punya increases, what happens? Guru Prapti takes place. Guru comes into the life. Shastra comes into the life. And then Guru and Shastra can be in one's life. But then when the Shastra is not enough to be in the life, it should be in the head. It should be in the heart. So the Shastra is internalized. This is the Sattvika's motive for prayer worship. And then Yaksharakshamsi Rajasaha. So Rajasic people worship the Yaksharaksha-ganas, meaning the lower level celestials. Who are they? Yakshas, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Kubera, all these things. Kubera is who? Lord of wealth, yes. Kubera is Lord of wealth. So they will worship these kinds of people. What is the motive for worshipping these kinds of devas? Material growth. not spiritual evolution, material growth. Why? Matter matters. And so it's I want this. Oh, but it's just matter. Matter matters. Material matters. Because why? You can't just say, oh, give me a Shuddha Antakarana. Shuddha Antakarana is not going to pay the bills. Okay, I need money to pay the bills. This is how the thinking is. And this is what I have to do. And I have to go get this and I have to secure this for my family. Only human beings do this. Nobody else. The dog may bury one bone. It will bury. And promptly it will forget where it is. It will bury here and dig over there. That is what the dog does. But it doesn't say, one bone for me, one bone for my puppy, one bone for my puppy's puppy, and one bone for my puppy's puppies, 7 generations. It will never say that. And the bird will build an elaborate nest. And after that what? Raise the babies. The purpose of the nest is over. The babies have flown the nest. And then what? It doesn't say, I think now that the children have gone, I should remodel and make their bedroom into my office. It doesn't do all that. Time to migrate south. Keeps flying south. And it doesn't say, I will rent this nest out on Airbnb. I will put it up on exchange basis. They will come and rent it out and they will pay me money. Nothing. It will just abandon it. Why? Because it knows everywhere God-given twigs are available and God-given feathers and all the other soft things to make the lining of the nest are available. In the next nesting season when it comes, I will be taken care of. I have the kshamata, I have the capacity. It will happen. So here that's not there. We like to hoard. And then so here that's why the material increase. The ones who pray to yakshas and rakshas. Rakshas here are not exactly rakshasas, but we can take friendly rakshasas. Friendly rakshasas, blessing rakshasas. There are a few of them. And so they pray to these kinds of people. Why? To grow materially, to become rich. And then what do the tamasas do? Read and tell me. Yeah. Preta. Preta means prakarshena itaha. Itaha gone. Prakarshena means forcefully. Forcefully gone means what? Not coming back. That's why quickly the body is disposed of. The relatives also, once they are gone, they don't want them to come back. Because the body is not even worth living. It has some problems. That's why it left. The person left because the body was not able to hold the jiva. So disembodied jivas are called preta. And they are available for worship. You bet they are available for worship. But why are they? Why would anybody want to worship them? Not for spiritual gain. Nobody worships a preta because the preta itself doesn't have spiritual gain. What will it give you? Nothing. A headache it will give, that's all. So, preta means goblins, ghosts, all these things, especially lower level. And then, so then why do they worship for material gain? That also not possible. Then what do they worship the pretas for? Generally, at least in this country, I don't know about other countries, in these countries, the disembodied ghosts, goblins and all these people, we can't call them people, right? Yeah, all these entities are worshipped. Why? To destroy other people. And these ghosts assist in destruction of other people. Why? Because these disembodied entities also have raga dvesha. So when you go to the cemetery means burial ground. Go there at midnight and invoke and say, I want these kinds of people destroyed. So those entities with those raga dvesha show up, take the offerings and then promise to destroy. So this whatever it's called, bad magic, and then these kinds of things are engaged by tamasic people. And this should not be confused with ancestor worship. We have a very rich tradition of ancestor worship. Pitru. In fact, we have a whole month which is actually 15 days. 15 days. Pitru Paksha, it came and went in September. And so that is the time that is given for ancestor worship. We worship the ancestors, we take care of them, we love them, we give offerings to them, we ask them to bless us always, we remember their love. We never forget them for 3 generations, because after that we don't even know their names. So we know the mother, father, we know the grandmother, grandfather, we know the great-grandmother, great-grandfather, on both sides. We offer tarpanam, we offer that, and then we keep a day of silence, we honor them. This is not the same as here. Here these pretas and bhutas are unknown people. They are not connected to me. They are not my family. They have nothing to do with me. They are just people. I keep calling them people. They are just entities with a grudge. With a grudge that they bear. Because of the grudge, they were not able to make a smooth passage and go to whichever loka they were supposed to go. They got stuck here. Why? The force of the raga dveshas was like stones tied to their being. They were not able to just go where they were supposed to go. Hanging around because of unfulfilled desires. And so, if I invoke them, my unfulfilled desires get hooked into their unfulfilled desires. And in the beginning, I think I am using them. But actually, it's a very fair question. Are you using them or are they using you? Very difficult to answer. So, then he says, Yaksha Rakshamsi Rajasaha Pretan Bhutaganamscha. Bhutagana means group of bhutas. Bhutas means past tense, meaning they are not there at all. Bhutaganamscha Anye. Anye means other people. Yajante Tamasa Janaha. So so we have covered the object of worship. And then what else have we covered? We have also covered the motive for the worship. So the motive for worshipping devatas is what? Spiritual growth and the reduction of papa. The motive for worshipping yakshas, rakshas, material gain. And the motive for worshipping pretas, bhutas, destruction of everybody that I don't want. Revenge, vengeance, grudge, etc. All these things. So, Atharva Veda is full of these kinds of spells. Terrible spells, and they all come true also. Somebody told me this story that they had a grandfather who was expert in all this. And the grandfather was approached by, this was in the times of when the British were ruling India, and there were some local kings, etc. So the king wanted to have what is called Asthana Vidwan, some musician who would be the royal musician, patronized by the royalty. So there was a competition, and then there were 2 finalists left. 2 finalists, and one of them would be selected. Both of them were very good. Both men were very good. And so the one of them, he thought the other one is better than me. And so what did he do? He went and asked this grandfather for a spell, so that the other one will not win. The other one was just fine, in the pink of health, both were young men. And so that grandfather looked up the Atharva Veda and mantrified some lemons. Foo, foo, foo. Some mantra was done on 4 lemons. And all that this man, the competitor, had to do was, let's say, this is the asanam on which the musician is, the competitor is going to sit. Put 1 lemon there, 1 lemon there, 1 lemon there, 1 lemon there on all 4 sides. That's all. Under the cloth. Just put it. That's all he had to do. He quickly put it and came. And then when it was that man's turn to sing, no voice would come out. He kept neighing like a horse. Not even one word would come out. Just 5 minutes ago he was able to sing. And then naturally this person got the thing. And the grandfather was so struck with remorse, because he saw in front of his own eyes, he never had an idea that this will actually come true. He saw, and then he was he kept doing prayashchitta to the end of his life. and the other man who got it through this cheating was also not happy. Lot of it creates a lot of papa, lot of things he had to endure as a result. And so this way, these are the things which must not be done, because simply because they are not dharmic. Forget whether they are sattvic or not, they are just not dharmic, that's all it is. And then, so the motive of worship and the object of worship we have seen, and the next verse, the next two verses are going to talk about the manner of worship. Let us chant. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapojanaha dambhahankara sanyuktaha kamaragabalanvitaha कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्रामम् अचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान्. So, the Sattvika people's mode of worship is not discussed here, because it is already discussed in the Shastra. They are all according to the Shastra they are doing here, so that is not discussed. So the Rajasic and the Tamasic are discussed. So first one is what? Ashastra Vihitam. That which is not enjoined by the Shastra, means they have made up their own mode of worship. Ghoram, terrifying to see. Tapyante ye tapojanaha. They do this ghora tapas. And on the streets of India, especially near pilgrim places, we can see this. They have a big whip, bare-bodied, and then they beat themselves. Blood is coming out. And they still beat themselves to show that it is mind over matter. What is mind over matter? If you don't mind, it does not matter. This is mind over matter. So they just beat themselves continuously. And then there is a cloth spread in front of them. And then what? People drop money. 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 200 rupees. And then that's how they make a living. The back is just, when you look at it, you just feel so terrible. It's full of these, what are they called? Welts. Welts means this swollen portions which have become atrophied like that. Permanent welts. Because there is a way they hit themselves also. First in the upper back, shoulders. Second in the mid back, like right in this portion. And third in the lower back near the hips, etc. It's just terrible to watch, but this is how it is. And then there are other people the tongue will be out. Why is the tongue out? Because there is a big trishul, the trident, pierced in the middle of the tongue. And that is how they go. Again there is a cloth spread or there is a begging bowl and they are walking like this. And then all kinds of self-mutilations. This is something which is very interesting. Why do people mutilate the body? People mutilate the body because they want to feel something. That means what? There is some unconscious problem, the unconscious mind problem. I'm not able to feel myself until I cut, beat and put the body in contortions. All flying in the name of tapas. I'm not doing anything bad to my body. This is just tapas. Tapas means what? Spiritual austerities. This is just a covering called spiritual austerities for what they do to the body. And there are other sadhus also. Just go to one Kumbh Mela, you will see all these and more. There is one Upar Hath Wale Baba. So, wrong teaching also. Somebody asked him, where is God? So he just went like this and went into a trance. First of all, God is not there, okay? Yeah. And so he forgot to bring his hand down, so it atrophied just like that. and it has become like a tree stump, all gnarly, the bones coming out, the veins coming out, and the hand is all just like a, sthanu, like a, what is sthanu? Like a stump of a tree. And he is just like this. And the whole time he has to adjust his sleeping and eating posture because of this hand. So like this, there are so many people. And there is one who refuses to sit or lie down. He might still be there. And near Badrinath somewhere. There is, and people felt sorry for him and tied a wooden plank, this big a plank, like a surfboard, behind him, and tied that plank to a tree so that at least he can have a little relaxation. The legs are all swollen beyond recognition. The veins are all coming out. And every day somebody has to put cream, somebody has to take care of. And still, no matter how much you take care of, the kind of things he is doing to his body, it cannot be compensated. So these are the kinds of people first discussed. Tapyante ghoram tapam. Shastra vihitam. Shastra doesn't say mutilate your body. What does the Shastra say? Dehaha devalayaha proktaha. Deho devalaya proktaha. Jivo devas sanatanaha. The body is a temple. Shastra says the body is a temple. Take care of it. Everything in moderation, as we saw in the 6th chapter. Yukta ahara, yukta vihara, yukta cheshta, yukta swapna, sleeping, yukta avabodha, waking, appropriateness, and follow the middle path. Leave aside the extremes. But here these people, anywhere they do all kinds of shenanigans with their body, and then, Maunam is good, but people don't speak for 10 years. And then you have to have paper and pen and all these things. And even if you want to talk, the vocal cords will have died. They will not cooperate. Even if you want to talk, you cannot talk. What for? To show whom? Why? And so this Bhagavan Krishna doesn't understand. He is very critical of all this. Tapyante se tapojanaha. Why he says dambha ahankara samyuktaha. Here there is a dambha, means the desire to show off something there. Ahankara, the ego is very much there. Even though the person may be beating themselves constantly, still there is an ego. What does the ego say? What does the ahankara say? Look at me. Look at you. If I do foo, you will fall down. Look at me. How much I am able to withstand. So much Shakti I have. That is the ahankara. That's an identification with the body. In fact, the tapas is done to disidentify with the body, but in fact here what is it doing? Having the opposite effect. The effect of being even more attached to the body. We are supposed to drop the body here. What are we dropping? Nothing. Okay, that is that is basically what is happening. And then dambha ahankara sanyuktaha kamaraga balanvitaha. So they are infused with kama and raga, all kinds of desires, all kinds of strong preferences, strong prejudices. When raga is mentioned, we have to bring in what? Dvesha also. Dvesha is there, raga is there, dambha is there, mana is there. I want to show off, I am the best. Look at me. That other guy is also beating himself, but I am beating myself much better. A dubious claim to fame, but that is the thinking of these people. And then, so therefore, they kama raga balanvitaha, because this kind of a tapas gets strengthened by the kamas, ragas, and dveshas. And then as a result, what do? This is a, what is that? Rajasic and tamasic are together here. There is not much a distinction made. We have to draw our own conclusions. So what do? Karshayantaha. Karshayantaha means pidayantaha. They torment the body. They are not doing tapas. Tapas means, sattvika tapas means just breathing normally, that is pranayama, very nice. Alternate nostril breathing, or rejaka, kumbhaka for count of 10. That is easy. breath management, mind management, japa, very easy. You don't have to go through all these things for what? And so here, karshayantaha, in they torment the whole body, they torment it and twist it out of recognition, and we don't know for what. Actually, we do know for what. Dambha, ahankara, etc. Mana, madanvitaha. Then, so karshayantaha sharirastham, the indweller of the body. What? Who is that? The indweller of the body, the jiva. Next line, Bhagavan will come. So the jiva, the one who is indwelling this body, the dehin means the one who is in the deha. Dehin. So the dehin is tormented. The person living in the body, the one who is identified with the body, is made to be miserable as a result of this kind of misled tapas, misled practices in the name of tapas, I should say. And then what? Bhutagramam achetasaha. Achetasaha means what? They are mindless, headless, thinkingless, viveka-less. So these viveka-less people, achetasaha, bhutagramam pidayantaha, karshayantaha, means the sense organs also they torment. The person living in the body, namely oneself, they torment. And as a result, Bhagavan says, who do they torment? They torment me. Who am I? I am the one living in the body. I am the one living in your body. And if you mistreat the body, who are you mistreating? Me. You are mistreating me in the name of tapas for the sake of me. You know what a twisted thinking. So, you are mistreating me, Bhagavan says. Mam chaiva antah sharirastham, the one who is in all the bodies. This was talked about where? In the 15th chapter. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtaha. This was talked about. And then later on also it will be talked about. 18th chapter we will see. Ishvaras sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani mantrarudhani mayaya. This is going to be told. So everywhere in the Bhagavad Gita, it's made very clear that this body is actually my home, Lord Krishna says. It's the Bhagavan's home. And instead, what am I doing? I'm just, causing an earthquake. How can Bhagavan live? Every day I'm causing an earthquake and a tsunami and, doing all these tortures to the home. And how can the indweller live in peace? Not possible. Karshayantascha mam karshayantah. They torment me also without knowing. And then why? Because I am the sharirastha. I sharire tishtami. I am the one who is in the bodies. So tan vidhi asura nishchayan. This is tamasic, definitely. The second verse is tamasic. And the first verse is tamasic and rajasic together. So, tan vidhi asura nishchayan. Asura nishchayan means those who have decided to become and remain asuras. That is the asura nishchayan. Then, so this is the, with regard to the object of worship, mode of the motive for purpose of worship, and then finally what? Manner of worship. So these are the don'ts. Don't do whatever that 5 and 6. Don't do 5 and 6. Keep to moderation. Keep moderation as the key to anything. So then, after talking about worship, then we come to another intimate part of our practice, which is food. And let us see what Bhagavan says about that. Aharastvapi sarvasya trividho bhavati priyah yajñastapas tatha dhanam tesham bhedamimam shrinu. Nothing much to say here except it's a listing. Aharastu api, whereas the diet or the food enjoyed by the people also is fivefold in nature, correct? No. Threefold. Trividho bhavati priyaha. Priyaha means what? So what the kind of food that is dear to them is threefold in nature. And then along after the ahara, what is to come is listed. There are the trividha, again threefold are yajna. Yajna means the kind of rituals and the manner of rituals they do. And then tapaha, and the kind of tapas they do. Tapas has been talked about here, but it's not really tapas. So the kind of tapas to be done, and other spiritual austerities like danam, tesham bhedam. Please listen to me shrinu. Please listen from me the differences in the way they walk, in the way they walk in life, doing their yajna, doing their dana, going about their life, and eating whatever is dear to them in eating and walking around, doing yajna, dana, tapas, etc. Please listen to the threefold differences. Ayus sattva balarogya, sukha priti vivardhanaha, रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृद्याः, आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः, कट्वं ललवणत्युष्ण, कट्वं लवणत्युष्ण, तीक्ष्णरूक्षविदाहिनः, आहारा राजसस्येष्टाः, दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः, यातायामं गतरसं, पूतिपर्युषितं च यत्, उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यम्, भोजनं तामसप्रियम्. One verse for one value. Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. So, what is the Sattvic? What is the food that Sattvic people like? Aharaha Sattvika Priyaha. So, this above is the list of food items enjoyed by the Sattvika people. Very objectively he says. So, that which increases ayuhu, which is not a recipe to kill oneself. That is the idea. Because sometimes people eat all the wrong things knowing that they are wrong things. Yeah. That is how it is. Even here, we have to be very careful of what we eat in the ashram. Every day, sweets. And every day, fried papads and fried things. Yeah, and we have to be careful. So, if one is on a collision course to kill oneself, that is, that is not sattvika. That is not a sattvika lifestyle. So, ayuhu, bala and arogya. Ayuhu means longevity. The foods that I like must promote, that I eat must promote longevity. Ayuhu, arogya, a well-being. Every food doesn't agree with everybody. Why? Karma, what else? Yeah, because of prarabdha. Yeah. Some people, if they look at food, they put on weight. Okay? And the other people can eat 8 times a day and they are like a stick. This is how it is. But karma, it is all prarabdha only. And so, here, ayuhu, arogya. Arogya means it's not about whether one is this or that, this much weight or that much weight. That's not. One should be healthy. Inside feeling healthy. So, ayuhu, arogya, bala, strength. The food that I love to eat and the food that I enjoy must give me strength. And then that is what is enjoyed by the Sattvikas. And then Sukha, Preeti, Vivardhana. Sukha and Preeti have the same meaning. Preeti may be nice to look at. Especially if you go to Japan, they have all very colorful food. Every color in the rainbow is represented. Very nice to look at. Of course, being vegetarian, half the things you don't know what they are and the other half you cannot eat. But still, and you don't speak the language also. But very nice from a distance until you come close and smell them. Smell the food. From a distance, it's very nice to look at. Very beautifully arranged in the rainbow colors. And they believe that for a good life, you should eat various colors, various textures, very beautiful, very healthy. Actually, the food is also very light. Once once they know you are vegetarian, they will give you only vegetarian food, and it's really healthy and very light food, easy to digest also. So like this. So it should be preetikara. It should be pleasing to look at. It should be pleasing to look at. And then Sukha Vivardhana. I should feel comfortable after eating it. After eating it, I should not hold the stomach and roll on the floor. That is not fun. I should feel comfortable after eating it. And then these are all the signs of what? Sattvic food. Rasyaha. It's juicy. Snigdhaha. It is wet, not dry. It's wet means it is full of rasa. And then Sthira, Hridyaha. Hridya means that which makes one happy. Sthira means it is fresh, it is present here. And then that is what is called Aharaha Sattvika Priyaha. These are the kinds of food that one must eat because these are the kinds of food that are loved by who? Sattvikas. Yes, so please come and collect this after the prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri